The White House looking even more incompetent as we finally learn the reason behind Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's mysterious hospital trip. Walter Reed revealing that the secretary underwent a minimally invasive surgical procedure to treat and cure prostate cancer. It all started in December 22nd when Austin had the surgery. Everything went fine. He even went home. But then Austin had to go back to the hospital on January 1st because of an infection. Still doesn't really explain why Austin felt the need to keep everybody, including the president, in the dark for days. The Pentagon couldn't explain it either.
Whose decision was it not to alert the president that the defense secretary had prostate cancer?
We're providing that information to you as we've received it. We received that this afternoon, and we're providing it to you now.
Clearly you didn't know. Did the chief of staff know?
I'm not going to go into the specifics on who specifically knew what, when, and where.
He was not informed until last Friday that Secretary Austin was in the hospital. He was not informed until this morning that the root cause of that hospitalization was prostate cancer.
Is there a lack of trust between the Pentagon and the White House?
We have complete confidence in the secretary. That is something that we have said. The president has complete confidence in the secretary.
Wow. But that doesn't explain why Joe Biden and his White House didn't even notice the defense secretary was in the ICU.
What kind of commander-in-chief is President Biden that at a time when American forces are under fire in the Middle East, he can go days without knowing that his defense secretary is in a hospital bed?
At no time was the ability for the United States military to defend our national security interests compromised.
Why should we believe anything that this administration tells us about anything ever again?
The Pentagon has been very, very honest with themselves about the challenge to credibility by what has transpired here.
Judge Janine, you are a medical doctor as well,
Yes,
so let's go to you first.
Yes.
Would you describe prostate cancer surgery as elective?
No.
Or minimally invasive?
Nobody says, I really don't need it, but I think I'll go in and have prostate surgery. Okay. Plus, now we know for sure what we didn't know yesterday, and that is on December 22nd, he was under general anesthesia. When you're under general anesthesia, it's during the time of the surgery, and then for several hours later when you're groggy and this and that. But, the crazy part about it is, and I get that Kirby is dealing with the bad facts that he has, but when he says at no time was the ability to defend our national security interests compromised, that's hogwash, okay? At this time, American servicemen and women are being hit in Iraq and in Syria. No one is doing anything about it. There's no national security meeting, no NSC council meetings. No one is talking to anyone else. Really? Is there like a memo that says, okay, we'll allow this many to get hit? One right now, I understand, is in critical condition. More than 50 of them have traumatic brain injury, which is a lifelong injury. Do they not care? Or how can they prove to us that they do care in light of this? And I want to say one more thing. The cabinet, there is now a requirement that they do a review of protocols. Really? In 2024, we're going to review protocols. Okay? Your local high school principal has a protocol. When he or she isn't there, the vice principal's in charge. My local DA's office, when I wasn't around as a DA, there was a delegation of authority that had to be filed with the county clerk as to who was in charge when I'm not there. Okay, it's that simple. And we don't have it for the Secretary of SecDef. Okay, and finally, is anyone talking to anyone? Blinken, during this period of time, is in Qatar. He's in Greece. He's in Qatar, Greece, as well as Turkey, and there's another country. Who is he talking to about his meetings in these countries? The president isn't talking to him. He's missing in action. He's not speaking to the Secretary of Defense. Who is he having these discussions with? Jordan, Turkey, Qatar, and Greece. Is he calling his mother and saying, Ma, how do you think I did over there? No one is in charge.
Dana?
Well, I think that the 30-day review is absolutely preposterous. It takes 30 seconds to review this situation. And the deputy secretary who's saying, let's do this 30-day review, it was her job to tell everybody it was happening in the first place, and she didn't do it. So that's like another 30 seconds. Plus, I hate group work. I hate it. I hated it from when I was a kid. So especially group work that is foisted upon you because of somebody else's misbehavior or if they did something wrong. Well, now the chief of staff at the White House has told everyone in the cabinet that they have to turn in a memo by January 12th that tells them exactly what the procedures are. Like, nobody else needs to do this group work. Again, that just makes everybody angry. 5 days with no contact does seem inconceivable to us, but it does open the White House to these questions. And I think that they know that, because you can tell from Kirby's answer and at the Pentagon that they're like, look, we got bad facts here and we don't have a lot to work with. Of course, we want the secretary to get better. Of course we do. But his judgment is a question. If the Trump Secretary of Defense had gone missing for 5 days and then they were finding out about this now, the media would have gone crazy and all the Democrats would have said, the Russians must have something on him. And so I think that this is an untenable situation. I said this morning, I would say, I'm sorry you don't feel well, but I'll see you in the Oval Office at 8 a.m., and then I'll see you out.
Ooh, Greg?
Yeah, you know, we had Michelle Obama in the A block, and she said government does everything.
Yes.
Everything badly. Except the military, which used to be a meritocracy, and that may not be for long. But this thing called government that supposedly does everything for us can't keep track of anything, right? The trillions in COVID funds, where did that go? The millions of illegal immigrants, the crime on our streets, our Secretary of Defense. It's like if the government were your Uber driver, you would be at the bottom of a lake. The big deal here is the chain of command. Right? There was none. No one knew what was going on. It's like when Jesse's off the 5 and we can't get Joey Jones because Jesse had parked in his handicap spot.
Listen, I was in a rush.
Yeah, but it is amazing how this, but it is the big question, like, where was the chain of command and who's going to keep tabs on the white supremacists and the PTA in the military? We got to be safe from, like, servicemen who own Gadsden flags and refuse to read books by Ibram Kendi. By the way, I have to put on my Men's Health hat, because I was the editor of Men's Health. You can't, prostate cancer can't be called elective surgery because it's based on the aggressiveness of the growth of the tumor. Because sometimes almost all men have some prostate cancer in them. It's just depending on how slow it grows, whether you want to use radiation or radical prostatectomy. But in that sense, it is elective.
Wow. Now, are you going to take the hat off now?
No, I'm going to keep it on.
Oh, keep it on for the rest of the show,
Yes, it's an invisible hat.
Oh, good. Harold Ford.
So I think it was irresponsible for the secretary on two fronts. Number one, and I hold him in high regard, but I think it's two fronts. Number one, when the deputy secretary was given this authority, she was not told, at least the reports, and she has said she was not told why or what was happening. They need to review that protocol too. And two, more importantly, I don't understand how you don't call the commander-in-chief, even if it's a confidential conversation. You say to the president, I'm looking at my own health. I heard, I think on one of the shows earlier, one of our doctors, in-house doctors on Fox, say that it would have also been useful just from the element of how African-American men, how we deal with this prostate cancer, and how many African-American men are unwilling, for whatever reason, to go and have the screening. There was another public good that could have been done. I don't necessarily agree that we were as compromised as maybe some of the language around the table, but I do agree it's irresponsible. And I hope it's fixed, but it's something that should have been avoided.
Okay, so you're going to go get your prostate checked on camera for the show and for the country,
I will be doing exams in the green room.
Yeah.
What if the three of you go together?
I brought my gloves.
Two black guys and a white guy go get.
That's right. That'll be tomorrow. But ahead, did he forget about the whole sanctuary thing? Chicago's left-wing mayor claims Texas is attacking cities run by black leaders with waves of migrants.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.